Hello, everyone. Today, I'd like to talk to you about the movie Alien Nation that came out in 1988. And I remember watching this. It really had an impact on me. The whole idea, I know that a lot of people are talking about disclosure, but it's not just about disclosure. And the idea of them living amongst us is something very intriguing. The writers of this storyline had some other things in mind. They wanted to address the social issues of today, of people that are coming in from other cultures that are moving into neighborhoods and seeing how it works, it doesn't work, there's conflict, and they're just getting to know each other at this point. So some of the challenges that they have obviously is probably feeling less than, and maybe they don't have certain things that the others, the people that lived there originally have. They also, it's a form of racism or social unacceptability, or looking at someone saying, "Well, that's strange. Your language is strange." At one point, he said, they had assigned names, and the guy's name is Sam Francisco, which is, obviously whoever gave them the name was making a joke to some degree. And it's the same thing, you see that throughout history where there's a level of disrespect towards people and who they are and what their background is. Um, it touches on some really solid areas that we have transgressed in welcoming in new people, but obviously the fear of the unknown, the confusion, the disconnect, thinking that there's a disconnect, and then somehow in the movie you see that they start to come together, they start to understand each other, and then they start to really like each other an awful lot. And the character played by James Caan is you know, kind of rough around the edges, but I think he turns out to be a very likable guy. And likewise, Sam, or whom he calls George, because he doesn't want to follow through with this degrading or what he seems to be an insultive way of talking to someone. Um, so it covers social issues, it covers issues of immigration, it covers issues of differences. And but there's another storyline behind this, and they actually come from a slave system. So this is where they come from. It's a place called Tecton, which they don't really say what star system this is, but and they're referred to as newcomers. Now, Peter the Insider has talked about the newcomers. That's actually a group that he told us were connected to the ETs that are around Cuba and maybe probably around Florida at this point, Puerto Rico, and some of that region. And I thought it was quite interesting. I completely forgot about this show. It was 1988. And then, well, I say show because it originally started as a movie, then it turned into a TV series, which I did watch regularly, and I enjoyed it very much. And even at some point, this detective from Tincton, he is actually goes through all these different kinds of ups and downs, and they have different problems. They have different anatomy, and they at some point, his wife becomes pregnant, but in their genetic culture, as the male carries the baby. So there's the whole thing of male pregnancy that came through. And like I said, there's a lot of, interesting topics about it. But I'm going to read a little bit about the background. So the Tectonese, or the newcomers, are a humanoid species. They have terracotta skin that feels slightly spongy to the touch. They are hairless but have spot patterns over their craniums that go down their neck and trail down to the point at the base of their spines. The patterns vary according to gender, females tending towards smaller, more delicate patterns, and males elongated and slightly wider spots. And then there are the catalysts that have very large spots that clearly identify them. They are adaptable and long-lived species who, for the most part, are deeply emotional and spiritual. But as former slaves, bred aboard a ship, they value freedom of solid ground and a sky above them very highly. Only the younger generations who hadn't reached adulthood before they were released are tempted to venture back among the stars. Despite their long enslavement, they have managed to hold on to their beliefs, culture, including their own language, both written and oral. So many people have been talking about being on a slave ship, have been talking about being brought into our reality, but they were enslaved and they don't want to be enslaved anymore. I mean, this literally is the storyline of what they have been saying. Whether they watch the show or not, I'm not questioning their recall. Essentially, I think there's too many people that have this feeling and memory. And as I said before, people are often confusing it with the super soldier process and thinking that it's identical, not separating that there are categories of MyLabs, which are separate, corporations that are separate, government programs that are separate, SSP, super soldier programs, and then there are, and some of those go way back, and there were commitments made. And then there are races that came here from another reality that settled in and are essentially living amongst us. Or we can't tell the difference. Or some people say that never happened, but why so many people have this memory? So the idea of having, we talk about just proving that this happened, but what if a race literally came and lived amongst us? How would we react? How have we been in our behavior towards other races? And that also is something that we shouldn't negate. I mean, that leads up to this problem, and also the races historically being perpetually angry because of what happened. So there's never a resolve. And this is something that I think they were trying to teach us. Here's some other interesting things about them. They live to around 140 years. The growth rate parallels humans through adolescence. They have two hearts, spaced like human lungs, positioned near the top of their chest cavities. Their blood is light pink and their stomachs cannot process cooked food. Their spartiary gland regulates their metabolism, accelerates healing. And then they also have a sensitivity underneath their armpit. If it's hit there, then it's very painful for them. There's something very, there's the sexuality is related to their backbone, and their eyes change color when they're embarrassed, and when they're cold or have an illness, they don't sneeze, they blink their eyes. So there is like these all little characteristics of them. They react badly to tobacco. Something about their nervous system is different compared to humans. They refer to the men as marsupial-like when, like as I said, that they will carry an infant. Of course, they're telepathic. There's something about their vertebrae goes all the way up to the top of their head, and it is considered, they make a comparison to them as a rooster. So generally they're peaceful, they're benevolent, and they settle in Los Angeles in the storyline. On the slave ship, there were officially two types of Cantonese slaves. One was called Dregna, that is Dregna, or cargo. And the overseers are Clesanthum, which also means demon, according to their language. But let's get back to cargo. We did already talk about cargo, or the carg, with Tyson and Power Lady. And we'll leave a link below if you want to watch that. So this group that oppresses them, they're especially trained to manage the rest of the cargo. They are separated from their families as children and deprived of affection and the touch. Their temples were even covered to prevent them receiving love, which left the children who were rescued from them during the crash with severe behavioral problems. Sounds a bit like the merge, doesn't it? I'm not saying this is the merge, but this is another example. They are taught to despise others as inferior and were allowed the luxury of developing their minds, though that often took the form of sick games. The test of the Clesanthum, or a child, was to have them kill the adult they were closest to, thus forever severing the bonds of love. Does that also sound familiar in some way? Is the oppression or being told to do things that were harmful to consciousness and cruelty? On New Angeles, the Clesanthum have proven themselves able businessmen and women, but are often behind criminal activities where the exploitation of others is the key to their success, and they can be identified by the tattoo around their wrist, a profane phrase in Cantonese that contains something that negated the effects of the gas. So the certain gas that affects them. The majority of the Cantonese on the ship were, of course, Dragna. Over time, without restriction of the gas, they have started to move out of their mindset and learn from their human neighbors to begin to demand equality. And of course, they're very, very grateful for their freedom. It has been easier for some of them than others to make the adjustment, which is partially the reason that the vast majority are still in menial positions. And so there's this level of repression, which we also can relate to. People that have been in the community have felt oppressed. As a parallel alone, this is very, very telling. And some of the behaviors, of course, we can fully relate to. The thing that I learned about, and if I'm saying it correctly, that the way that they created their language, the language was speaking backwards, and then they added some accent to indicate a little bit of a Russian accent to it, and that's how the producers created this. I'm not saying that that is exactly how they did it. In the movie, you see that there's this drug that affects them, and also kind of humorous is that they can get drunk off of milk. And here again, it's kind of the interesting and intriguing things about someone that's different from you, someone who was raised different, other cultures, a variety of beliefs and different things that I think makes the world interesting. Would it be so terrible if a race like this was here? Um, I don't think so. I think we already have races here, but they blend in quite well, and people can agree or disagree, and that's fine. But I guess we're talking to a specific group of people that are open to something like this. What brought me to this was years ago, we had this individual that came to one of our groups. We used to do a radio station around the year 2015 or so on Wolf Spirit Radio called the Andronetalks Transmissions Contact Andromeda. And at that time, we had met so many wonderful people who really, really enjoyed that community. And they would have a chat during the show and people would discuss. It's kind of like live stream. And they would, bring up questions. We would answer the questions and we would share the transmissions. And then it was there was different people that we started to get close to, and one of them was he went by the name of Magic Moon. Now, Magic Moon was from England, and he had a wonderful spirit to him. He was very loving, acceptable, or accepting of everyone, that type of person. I think he was a bit on the hippie side, and it kind of made us smile, some of the things that he would say and do. And I had him on the show a few different times. And we were talking about dating amongst our community, because people wanted to meet each other. They just really enjoyed their company. And then he said out of nowhere, he goes, I kind of fancy to shag with a reptilian someday. And we all laughed. And not many people could get away with making a statement like that, but he did. And that's the type of person that he was. He was very endearing. And during the pandemic, he contacted us and he said, I have the virus. He said, I'm not going to fight it. He said, I don't want to be here anymore. And before we had a word to say, he just left. And then we heard that he soon passed. It was very hard for us. We missed him. It was sad the way he left. We were upset about what happened with the pandemic and what it did to people. And some people felt there's no purpose to live like this, because he was a very open, loving person, and isolation didn't work well with him. He didn't obviously try to get the virus. It just happened. And when it did, he sort of resigned to it. I didn't hear from him. I try to connect with him in the astral, and usually I can, but on some cases I can't. And they took him somewhere. So just recently, he came forward and explained a whole bunch of stuff to me. And I started talking to him, and he said he tried to talk to me. Somehow he was reaching other people, and he said someone actually channeled him. And I'm thinking that there was someone in the community who was American, that was channeling someone in with a British accent. And I don't know if that's what I was thinking about or what he was saying, but it did cross my mind. But anyhow, his idea of, let's get together, let's figure this out, kind of be open. And not that I wasn't. I mean, I've been, communicating. That's why I work with the ACIO. I have been connecting to ETs at a very young age. And I have no embarrassment or shame, or, no one's going to say, oh, that's a ridiculous thing to say. I don't really care what they have to say. It's like denying our own existence, or being so arrogant to think we are the only ones, or thinking that there isn't some kind of brilliant minds out there that are sending information to us for advancements, technology, and even socially, how to interact, how to create things that are both good and bad, such as weapons and so forth. But yeah, I don't want to negate any of that information. I think it's foolish to ignore some of the obvious. The truth is that sometimes people miss the bigger picture, and I think disclosure is already here. Enough people are seeing it. It's not about fame. It's not about standing out. But I mean, if someone wants to pursue something, that's fine with me. That's not the issue. But what I'm saying is not so much what other people are doing, but in my opinion, the fact that I can even talk about this subject on a social media is a big win. I'm not very young, and I've seen a lot of things, and this is actually a big breakthrough. I think I would welcome the entire everyone, the whole world to talk about this subject, to watch this movie. I know that I say certain things are restrictive because we want to make sure the content of our website is, not tarnished, and because we can't help people if the meaning's changed. And I know that some people are doing this intentionally because maybe they don't see the bigger picture that they're harming the others that are trying to get help. So, with that said, keep an open mind, enjoy this, watch the movie, watch the series, and see diversity on another level, and you know, expand your thinking. There's an ET civilization that lives underneath Cuba.
I know it.
What's the race that's underneath Cuba? What are they?
They are gamers. I need to write it.
And
They look like us. They look like us, but they are darker. They've got darker skin tones.
where are they from? What star system?
From Stela. Stela, Alpha, B, Beta, Proxima, and on and on. Stela. Stelas, and they are very technologically advanced gamers.
Are they
Yeah,
oppressing the Cuban people? Because that's a very oppressed nation.
yeah, they are, because people they don't work, they don't want to get according their rules. It is on surface prison, Cuba, the same crap as they've got in North Korea. Just by the way, the same case. Mhm. And they are wealthy. They don't get any lack of, they've got, it is a land of plenty. They've got everything you can only dream about, but it is deep down under. Yeah, yeah. Just by the way, they are very into magic. They gamers. Yeah, they are very into magic. They are making these altars, the dolls, the what is it, the skulls with horns and everything, and the circles and every. Oh my god, they are making all of those stuff.
So this might be where it's coming from. Is there any of the gamers are very famous, like celebrities or anything like that, or politicians?
Yeah, I know at least the one. The whole Fast and Furious people, they are, I mean, in what is it, in franchise, most of them are gamers,
You
because
mean
look,
like
they are.
those women, those Hispanic women and all that?
Not only, look,
Vin
also
Diesel?
called Vin Diesel. They are gamers. I'm not kidding you.
Okay.
They are also look. They look like Hispanic. No, I mean, technically, officially, they are, Hispanic, but they are gamers.
Are the Puerto Ricans gamers too?
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
that's correct. Mhm. That's correct.
Are they also in a prison as well, above ground?
Some sort of like 50-50 sometimes,
Yep.
because so many people living in Puerto Rico, it's like living in a constant chaos. You never know what happened around the corner.
That's a beautiful, beautiful country. I've been there.
And that's the problem. Beautiful country, very nice people, but it's constant chaos.
That's interesting because there's famous Puerto Ricans.
Yeah, they are.
Was it Gloria Estefan, I think is Cuban.
Yeah,
Gloria.
just by the way. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So is
You are
she a
right.
gamer too?
Yep. Most famous people from Cuba, they are gamers. Or at least crossbreeds between and hybrids between gamers and us, like mankind. They
Yeah.
were here before us.
Yeah. Or
They
they
were
could
here
even be
before
like
us.
an earlier human. Are they like an earlier version of humans?
Yes, they are, because technically we are not us like us anymore. Like, what the heck? Us are pretty much right now what we've got. It is pretty much like something what rest of us after the it was third or fourth doomsday. And this video, like this short gray, with huge head, it was like after not fifth, seventh, sixth or seventh doomsday. Like, we are transforming, like, as a humanity. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And I'm saying rapidly and drastically transforming
You
after
say
doomsday.
the Earth has gone through 7 doomsdays
Or
since
eight,
yes.
I don't know,
Is that what
but
you're
in
saying?
different context of existence,
Okay. So
According our knowledge, it was at least 12 or 13 or something like that.
because I knew a guy, he told me that he used to go to Puerto Rico once a year and he would sit on the beach and watch spacecraft, UFOs, go down into the water, come back up, go down into the water, come back
Yeah,
up.
yeah, I know. I'm not kidding you. Yeah, because they are down in an ocean,
Underneath.
you know.
They're almost like Atlantean type, right?
I
Like
know, I know, I know, I know.
water.
I mean, Camers. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know,
Yeah.
I know. It is nothing. People in Puerto Rico doesn't make any. They are not making, how can I say it, any big deal of that. People, I don't know, in US or in Europe, I don't know, in Asia, they're like, oh, here and down under Australia, that's making it. Oh my God, we saw a UFO, and you know, in Puerto Rico, or I don't know, maybe in Cuba, you will go to Cuba and you will talk to those people and say, "Ma, we see this, we saw that," and you being, I don't know, American, or Rolf being a Dutch, or me, I mean, originally from Slovakia, and I was like, we saw something, and then once you was born and raised in this kind of context, cultural and historical context, and you will see something from early childhood, you will get used to it. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I was asking if that's what they look like. They have big eyes.
Ah, not that kind of big as Zetas in comparison with head size. They are not that kind of big.
Do they look
No.
like grays or no?
Oh no, they look like us, like people, but
Us,
with
but with bigger
different,
eyes.
but bigger eyes. Yes, yes, yes. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they were involved with Arecibo and all that in Puerto Rico.
Yep, 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 you get it. I mean, pretty much almost identical with us, but different kind of skin tones, many races. I mean, like, because look what we've got. We've got the white, yellow, it's like kind of red skin, then how can I say it? Brown skin and black skin, like five, six, or something like that. And they've got a wide variety of skin tones. And as you said, uh, I don't want to say super huge eyes, but just slightly little bigger eyes in
Bigger,
comparison.
rounder eyes or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Than us. Yeah, but other than that, you you will not differ them that much from us. Yeah, I'm saying them, gamers.
Thank you and have a good day.
You have been listening to Andronetalks Radio. Join us on YouTube channel Jessica Arael Morocco and visit her website at www.readingsbyarael.com.